Melachim Aleph, or 1 Kings, chapter 5. And Hiram, sovereign at Sor, sent his servants to Shelomoh, because he heard that they had anointed him sovereign in place of his father, for Hiram had always loved David. And Shelomoh sent for Hiram, saying, You know my father David was unable to build a house for the name of Yehovah his Elohim, because of the battles which were all around him, until Yehovah put them under the soles of his feet. But now, my Elohim has given me rest all around. There is neither adversary nor evil incident. And see, I intend to build a house for the name of Yehovah, my Elohim, as Yehovah spoke to my father David, saying, Your son, whom I set on your throne in your place, he does build the house for my name. And now, command that they cut down cedars for me from Lebanon, and let my servants be with your servants, and let me pay you wages for your servants according to whatever you say. For you know there is none among us who knows to cut timber like the Sidonians. And it came to be, when Hiram heard the words of Shelomoh, that he rejoiced greatly and said, Blessed be Yehovah this day, for he has given David a wise son over this great people. And Hiram sent to Shelomoh, saying, I've heard that which you sent me. Let me do all you desire concerning the cedar and cypress logs. Let my servants bring them down from Lebanon to the sea. Then I put them in rafts by the sea to the place you direct me, and I shall spread them out there. Then you take them up, while you do my desire by giving food for my household. And Hiram gave Shelomoh cedar and cypress logs, all his desire. And Shelomoh gave Hiram 20,000 cores of wheat as food for his household, and 20 cores of pressed oil. Thus Shelomoh gave to Hiram year by year. And Yehovah gave Shelomoh wisdom as he promised him, and there was peace between Hiram and Shelomoh, and the two of them made a covenant. And sovereign Shelomoh raised up compulsory labor out of Israel, and the compulsory labor was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 per new moon, by courses. They were 1 new moon in Lebanon, 2 new moons at home. And Adoniram was over the compulsory labor. And Shelomoh had 70,000 bearing burdens and 80,000 hewing stone in the mountains, besides 3,300 from the chiefs of Shelomoh's deputies who were over the work, who's ruling over the people, who labored in the work. And the sovereign commanded, and they brought large stones, precious stones, to lay the foundation of the house with hewn stones. And Shelomoh's builders and Hiram's builders and the men of Gebal did hew, and prepared timber and stones to build the house. Chapter 6. And it came to be in the 480th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, in the 4th year of the reign of Shelomoh over Israel, in the new moon of Ziv, which is the 2nd new moon, that he began to build the house of Yehovah. And the house which sovereign Shelomoh built for Yehovah was 60 cubits long, and 20 wide, and 30 cubits high. And the porch at the front of the hakal of the house was 20 cubits long, according to the breadth of the house, and its width 10 cubits from the front of the house. And he made for the house windows with narrowed frames, and against the wall of the house he built rooms all around, against the walls of the house, all around the hakal and the speaking place. Thus he made side rooms all around. And the lowest side room was 5 cubits wide, And the middle one was 6 cubits wide, and the third one was 7 cubits wide, for he made narrow ledges around the outside of the house, so as not to lay hold on the walls of the house. And the house, when it was being built, was built with finished stone made ready beforehand, so that no hammer or chisel or any iron tool was heard in the house while it was being built. The doorway for the middle side room was on the right side of the house, and they went up by stairs to the middle side rooms, and from the middle to the third. So he built the house and completed it, and he paneled the house with beams and boards of cedar. And he built the side rooms of the structure against all the house, each 5 cubits high. And they were fastened to the house with cedar beams. And the word of YHVH came to Shelomoh, saying, This house which you are building, if you walk in my laws and do my right rulings, and shall guard all my commands and walk in them, then I shall confirm my word with you, which I spoke to your father David, and shall dwell in the midst of the children of Israel, and do not forsake my people Israel. So Shelomoh built the house and completed it, and he built the walls of the house inside with cedar boards. From the floor of the house to the ceiling, he paneled them on the inside with wood, and covered the floor of the house with planks of cypress. And he built 20 cubits at the rear of the house, from floor to the walls with cedar boards. And he built it inside as the speaking place, as the most set apart place. And the house was 40 cubits. It is the Hakal before it. And the cedar for the house inside was carved with ornaments and open flowers. All was cedar, not a stone was seen. And he prepared the speaking place in the midst of the house to place the ark of the covenant of YHVH there. And the front of the speaking place was 20 cubits long, and 20 cubits wide, and 20 cubits high. And he overlaid it with refined gold, and overlaid the slaughter place of cedar. And Shelomoh overlaid the inside of the house with refined gold, and made gold chains pass over the front of the speaking place, and overlaid it with gold. Thus, he overlaid the entire house with gold until the entire house was completed, and the entire slaughter place that was by the speaking place he overlaid with gold. And inside the speaking place he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, 10 cubits high, and one wing of the cherub was 5 cubits, and the other wing of the cherub 5 cubits, 10 cubits from the tip of one wing to the tip of the other. And the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both cherub were of the same size and shape. The height of one cherub was 10 cubits, so was the other cherub. And he placed the cherubim in the midst of the inner house. And they stretched out the wings of the cherubim so that the wing of the one touched one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wings touched each other in the middle of the room. And he overlaid the cherubim with gold, and he carved all the walls of the house all around, both inside and outside, with carved figures of cherubim and palm trees and open flowers. Then he overlaid the floor of the house with gold, inside and outside. And for the entrance of the speaking place, he made doors of olive wood, the lintel, doorposts, a fifth. And the 2 doors were of olive wood, and he carved on them figures of cherubim, and palm trees, and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold. And he spread the gold on the cherubim and on the palm trees, and so he made doorposts for the door of the Hakal of olive wood. a fourth part. And the 2 doors were of cypress wood, and the 2 leaves of the one folded, and the 2 leaves of the other door folded. And he carved cherubim and palm trees and open flowers and overlaid them with gold laid smoothly on the carved work. And he built the inner courtyard with 3 rows of hewn stone and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year, the foundation of the house of Yehovah was laid in the month Ziv, and in the 11th year, in the month Bul, in the 8th new moon, the house was completed in all its matters and according to all its plans. Thus he built it for 7 years. And Deber Hayamim Bet, 2 Chronicles, chapter 2. And Shelomoh gave word to build a house for the name of Yehovah and a house for his reign. Then Shelomoh enrolled 70,000 men to bear burdens, 80,000 hewing stone in the mountains, and 3,600 to oversee them. And Shelomoh sent to Hiram, sovereign of Sor, saying, As you did for my father David, and sent him cedars to build himself a house to dwell in, see, I'm building a house for the name of Yehovah, my Elohim, to set it apart to him, to burn before him sweet incense, and for the continual showbread, and for the ascending offerings, morning and evening, on the Sabbaths, and on the new moons, and on the appointed times of Yehovah our Elohim. This is for Israel forever. And the house which I built is great for our Elohim, is greater than all mighty ones. But who is able to build him a house, since the heavens and the heavens of the heavens are unable to contain him? Who am I then that I should build him a house, except to offer before him? And now, send me at once a man who knows to work in gold, and in silver, and in bronze, and in iron, and in purple and crimson and blue, and knowing to engrave with the skilled men who are with me in Yehuda and Jerusalem, whom David my father has prepared. And send me cedar, cypress, and algum logs from Lebanon, for I know that your servants know how to cut timber in Lebanon, and see, my servants are with your servants, even to prepare plenty of timber for me, for the house that I am building is great and marvelous. And see, I've given servants to you, the hewers who cut timber, 20,000 cores of ground wheat, and 20,000 cores of barley, and 20,000 baths of wine, and 20,000 baths of oil. Then Hiram, the sovereign of Sor, answered in writing, which he sent to Shelomoh, Because Yehovah loves his people, he has made you sovereign over them. And Hiram said, Blessed be Yehovah, Elohim of Israel, who made the heavens and the earth. For he has given sovereign David a wise son, knowing wisdom and understanding, to build a house for Yehovah and a house for his reign. And now I've sent a skilled man having understanding, Hiram Abi, the son of a woman of the daughters of Dan. And his father was a man of Tsor, who knows to work in gold, and in silver, in bronze and iron, in stone, and in wood, purple and blue, and fine linen, and in crimson, and to make any engraving, and to accomplish any plan that's given to him with your skilled men, and with the skilled men of my master David your father. And now the wheat and the barley, the oil and the wine, which my master has spoken of, let him send to his servants. And let us cut wood from Lebanon as much as you need, and bring it to you in rafts by the sea to Yaffo, and you take it up to Jerusalem. And Shelomoh numbered all the men, the sojourners who were in the land of Israel, according to the census in which David his father had numbered them, and they were found to be 153,600. And he made 70,000 of them to bear burdens, and 80,000 hewers of stone in the mountain, and 3,600 overseers to make the people work. And chapter 3. And Shelomoh began to build the house of Yehovah at Jerusalem on Mount Moriah, where he appeared to his father David at the place that David had prepared on the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. And he began to build on the 2nd day of the 2nd new moon in the 4th year of his reign. And these are the foundations which Shelomoh laid for building the house of Elohim. The length by cubits according to the former measure were 60 cubits, and the width 20 cubits. And the porch that was in front was 20 cubits long, according to the breadth of the house, and the height was 120, and he overlaid the inside with clean gold. And the great house he paneled with cypress, which he overlaid with fine gold, and he carved palm trees and chainwork on it. And he covered the house with precious stones for comeliness, and the gold was gold from Paravaim. And he overlaid the house, the beams, the doorposts, and its walls and its doors with gold, and carved cherubim on the walls. And he made the house of the most set apart. Its length was according to the width of the house, 20 cubits, and its width 20 cubits, and he overlaid it with fine gold, 600 talents. And the weight of the nails was 50 shekels of gold, and he overlaid the upper rooms with gold. In the most set apart house, he made 2 cherubim of sculptured work, and overlaid them with gold. And the wings of the cherubim, their total length was 20 cubits. One wing was 5 cubits, touching the wall of the room, and the other wing was 5 cubits, touching the wing of the other cherub. And the wing of the other cherub was 5 cubits, touching the wall of the room, and the other wing was also 5 cubits, touching the wing of the other cherub. The wings of these cherubim spread out 20 cubits, and they stood on their feet, and they faced inward. And he made the veil of blue and purple and crimson and fine linen, and worked cherubim on it. And at the front of the house he made 2 columns 35 cubits high, and the capital that was on the top of each of them was 5 cubits. And he made wreaths of chainwork, as in the speaking place, and put them on top of the columns. And he made 100 pomegranates, and put them on wreaths of chainwork. And he set up the columns before the Hakal, one on the right and the other on the left, and called the name of the one on the right Yakin, and the name of the one on the left Boaz.